All right, guys, I'm at the range today. So it's getting into kind of the middle of summer. Here we are, like a couple weeks into June. It's not really reloading season for me. Hopefully by this time of year, I've got all my stuff figured out. That doesn't mean I don't play around with reloads, but not as heavily. It's more of a winter sport for me. But I am out groundhog hunting, and I like to check my zero at least every week. And today that's what I'm going to do. I'm also going to do some chronograph work just to double check my dope chart on these guns. So I've got my 243 running 87 grain VMAX, and I've got my this Ruger American. My daughter has been insistent on shooting this instead of that 223. I would like to know, kind of like what to expect with this thing. So for this gun, we're going to run these mini mag 22 long rifle HP hollow point. These are the hollow points. So I'm going to get some muzzle velocities on this thing and basically review how I set up my dope chart. And I do that on my phone. I am partial to the Streetlock app. I also like the Hornady app. But the Streetlock app, when you're in the field, is a lot faster to set it up, and it's just a little bit more intuitive. Doesn't have as many knobs to turn to kind of set it up, but I'll review how to set up the Streetlock app and kind of talk a little bit about the Hornady app because it has some things in there, some extra things in there that are valuable as well, like kinetic energy and other things. But I'm going to set the chronograph up and start getting some numbers on these guns. We'll see how the chart builds. Oh. All right. So how I do this is with the 3-shot group. All right, and I emphasize the most on the cold bore shot. So this is why I always pay attention to the range, the velocity ranges of my reloads, is because I want it to be consistent, and this is why. So I'm going to do a 3-shot group here, and I'll collect the velocity numbers, and basically use the average of that for the dope chart calcs. So let's see what we got here. All right, that was 3192. $31.46. $32.29. That's not great as far as range. But, all right, so I'll average those up and start building the chart. I'll switch the gun over here. All right, Ruger American time. These CCI mini mags are calling out 1260 feet per second on those. So we'll see. We'll see how that stacks up. $13.04. All right, we'll take it. $13.02. $13.40. I'll keep going. It's just fun to shoot these things. $13.46. Let's do one more. Let's do a 5-shot. $13.47. Now I'd be more interested in the 13.04 and the 13.02 because they're cold bore, right? That's why, you know, that cold bore shot it matters, right? All right, well, get the Street Lock app going here, and we'll kind of review that whole process. So. All right, guys. So Street Lock app here is pretty straightforward. I'm just going to open this guy up. And this, it opens right up into, you know, kind of the useful, a useful screen on this thing. So you can see I've got, you know, 300 yards punched in here. You know, slope, angle, degrees, all that, wind speed and miles per hour, all that stuff, it'll take that into account. Let's just say I have this punched in right now for this 87 grain VMAX. So let's just say I'm at 250 yards, right? So done. And then you hit calculate, and then it gives you your MOA or MRAD, it gives you inches, clicks on your scope, all based on your initial settings. So this is basically how you use this thing. For setup, though, this is kind of the part I wanted to review. What you do is you basically just go straight down a list where it says weather here. We're just going to click on that. So this is the weather conditions when I zeroed the gun. Okay, so the altitude for me here in PA is 328. The temperature was 79. The pressure was 30.15. Pretty easy stuff, right? Just set that up, and then we go right into the next box down here, the rifle setup. So it says R700 87 grain VMAX here. Basically, anything you type in, you know, this box here is going to set up a new rifle, right? So you type in anything you want there, and then in your list, right, because you can save several rifles or several different bullets is the way I kind of do this. And it'll just keep track of all that. So I'm just going to leave that alone for now, but let's hit this scope setup here. Type in this guy, you know, you put in your zero distance, your scope height, you know, and then the click graduations on the scope. You know, if it is an MOA or MRAD, whatever. The scope reticle is quite a good selection in here of all these things, right? Which, you know, I guess it doesn't really matter, really, but it also has a pretty nice search feature. So I'm using a Vortex, which you saw it was in the box there. Just type it in, and it gives you all these options, right? So it's pretty handy. I mean, if you're into that sort of thing. This is not like the premium version of this. Premium version, I guess, has even more options. So that's pretty much the reticle, you know, the scope setup. Let's go into zeroing weather. So again, the 328, the 79, all that stuff is in here as well. When you're setting up your rifle, the cartridge piece. So this is where we put in our, you know, bullet weight. You want your ballistic coefficient and what velocity you're getting at whatever temperature. The temperature sensitivity factor is a really interesting thing here. So when I first started using this, I didn't pay any attention to this because I really didn't know what it means. But if you click on that equal sign there, actually allows you to use your own data to set up your temperature sensitivity, right? And this is just some generic thing. But you can see at the top here, we got bullet speed, we've got temperature, right? And that's got my velocity for this gun right now. 79 degrees, 3190. So that's 3190 is the speed I'm using based on the 3-shot chronograph group, right? But then you have a second one here, right? Bullet speed 2, temperature 2. So if I shoot this thing in the middle of winter, right, I can get my velocity and put the temperature in there, and it will calculate. It'll calculate the temperature sensitivity factor for me to put that in there. It's like a custom deal here, which I really like. I should probably use that. Anyways, you get your bullet set up. That's all good to go. From here, I don't use the export files, the import rifles, but you can save, you can export this file to, like a computer or something, and then you can obviously import them if you have them. I'm just going to close that out. So now it's ready to use. It's all set up. It knows exactly what happened at the bench and how to adjust for your elevation. The last feature that I really like on this thing is this table function here. You hit this table button. Now I've got this set up for 100-yard increments all the way up to 800 yards. And it will give me my bullet velocity at each distance, and it also gives me a generic vertical correction, right, dope chart here. All of this can be kind of manipulated or set up custom to what you want to see here. If you hit settings button, right, you can show bullet energy, for example, and I don't really care about horizontal correction right now. And I'll just run that guy. So hit OK here, and then you can see your energy in foot-pounds. You get a column there, which is really important for me when I'm trying not to blow up foxes, right? I want to make sure that my reloads are going to keep the energy below a certain level, basically. So pretty handy little tool here. Let's see what this settings tab does. It's just kind of a generic thing here. But that's pretty much it for StreetLock app, and it's surprising how close this thing is. When I did the video with the milk jugs, I literally typed this thing in, clicked it in for vertical adjustment, and then that is it. From there I just walked in, my windage adjustments. Vertical was right on the money. I never had to bang that around or move that at all. I just typed in the distance from my rangefinder, and this app took care of it. All right, so Hornady app. I got to go over here and grab that thing. So it's very similar to StreetLock. It just is a little bit clunkier. Like this is the home screen, right? And I look at this and I'm like, what the heck is this? This 4 DOF calculator, and then you have this G1/G7 calculator. And honestly, I have no idea. I can never figure out which one I'm supposed to be using. But let's go to this BC calculator, right? So you get in here, and you can kind of adjust your like windage thing here. You can adjust like wind speed. It's all like it's like knobs you have to turn, sort of thing. We can type in different distances and things. But one thing I struggle with this guy is when we edit these variables. So I do have this guy set up for this 87 grain VMAX, right? And there's a huge list of Hornady stuff in here. It basically has everything they have in their manuals. That 4 DOF, whatever that means, actually has other people's bullets in there too. But same thing with this app. You set up your muzzle velocity, your zero range, sight height, all this stuff, right? Set all that up, save it. Right, and then you basically can punch in I'm out to let's say 250 here again, right, and it tells you in the bottom left here I'm 1.87 MOA, and it gives you a windage adjustment. So I don't mess with the windage too much. One thing I do like about this app is, or one thing I hate about this app, let's say that. I hate this see how I'm messing around with this angle of this windage? I hate these little hand touchy things. Just let me type in a number, But what I do like about this thing is if we go to the lower right hand corner, there's a table icon there. So click on that. So let's say I want to run this guy out to, I want to shoot like a mile. So 1750, and let's just do 100-yard intervals and set that up. The thing I like about this guy is it's really similar to the dope chart we got in Strelock. But you get your total windage MOA. Now this was set at 180-degree wind, which is say a tailwind at 0 mile per hour. So it really doesn't matter what direction the wind's blowing at 0 miles per hour, but you still get a windage MOA. And this, I think, if I'm really going deep here, right, we want to shoot this thing a mile, I need to adjust for 3 MOA because of the bullet spin. So this thing takes that into account, and I really find that to be kind of awesome, right? So you get your no wind trajectory, you get your all this. I mean, they've got a really nice kind of table going here. What I really like about this is the calculations for energy in this table are really close to my hand calculations, closer than the Strelock one is. So I tend to, if I'm actually going to calculate, my energy, bullet energy at certain yardages or something, I tend to use this app because it just seems to be a little bit closer, especially since I use a lot of Hornady bullets. But very similar. Little clunkier. You can see, like, if you're in the field here and you got something out there that's moving target or whatever, something that you need to hurry up and get a shot on it and stuff. You could kind of play around with this thing a little bit too long. Okay, that's why that Strelock app is just kind of nice. But yeah, that's kind of it. Those are the two calculators that I use, and like I said, the Strelock app is pretty sweet. So I hope this was helpful, and leave me some comments or suggestions. Thanks for watching.